There comes a time in every life when excuses no longer suffice, when the mirror starts to speak louder than the world, when the cost of staying the same becomes heavier than the fear of change. And it is in that moment, silent, powerful, private, that a new life begins. Not the life given by chance, the life chosen by decision. And at the root of every chosen life is discipline. Discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you could be. It is the difference between dreams that die on paper and visions that manifest in reality. It is the code of kings, the armor of warriors, the language of those who refuse to settle. And no, it is not born. It is built. Built through repetition, built through resistance, built through decisions that whisper, not now, not yet, not this time. Discipline is not punishment. It is protection. Protection from the future regret of a life lived at half volume. It is the ability to say yes to your purpose by saying no to your impulses. And if you desire a life of greatness, not hype, but honor, you must master it. The first skill of self-discipline is awareness. You cannot master what you do not see. And most people are sleepwalking, reacting, not reflecting. You must become a student of your own patterns. What triggers you? What tempts you? What makes you numb your ambition? Track it, journal it, watch yourself like a hawk. Because once you become aware of your default settings, you gain the power to override them. Your awareness is the steering wheel. Without it, your life is a runaway train. The second skill is delayed gratification. The ability to trade what you want now for what you want most. This is the battlefield where self-discipline is forged. And it begins in the smallest moments, choosing water over soda, silence over snapping, reading over scrolling. Every choice you make sends a message to your brain about what kind of person you are. And over time, those messages compound into identity. And once identity locks in, behavior follows. So don't just say, I'm trying to be disciplined. Say, I am the kind of person who does what must be done. Say it, mean it, prove it. The third skill is habit design. Self-discipline without systems is just willpower on life support. You can't rely on motivation. You can't trust your feelings. You need habits so ingrained, so rooted in your rhythm, that not doing them feels unnatural. Discipline is not about forcing yourself through pain every day. It's about setting up your environment so success becomes easier than failure. It's about friction. Add it to the bad habits. Remove it from the good ones. Put your phone across the room. Prep your meals. Set your clothes out the night before. Remove choice. Make discipline automatic. The fourth skill is mental rehearsal. Visualization, not fantasy training. Athletes do it. Champions live it. See yourself doing the hard thing before the moment arrives. See yourself pushing through, smiling under pressure, holding the line when comfort calls. The mind does not know the difference between real and vividly imagined. Use that to your advantage. Train your nervous system for discipline. Picture the scenario. See the decision. Feel the strength. Then when the real moment comes, you'll move without hesitation. Discipline isn't just muscle. It's memory. The fifth skill is self-talk mastery. Words are not cheap, they are commands. And the words you whisper to yourself when no one is listening are the ones that shape your limits. You must become the coach in your own head. Relentless, grounded, focused. No more, I'll try. No more, I'm just not that kind of person. No more, I always mess this up. Speak as the person you intend to become, even when it feels like a lie. Because eventually, your behavior catches up to your belief. Tell yourself the truth, not about where you are, but where you're going. The sixth skill is urgency. Not panic, not chaos, urgency. A deep awareness that time is your most precious resource and you don't get refunds. Most people are casual with their time because they believe they have more of it. They don't. Discipline begins when you treat your hours like gold. When you schedule your priorities instead of prioritizing your schedule. When you move through the day like someone with a mission, because you are. Procrastination is not a time issue. It is a value issue. You don't procrastinate on things that matter to you. So either raise your value or watch your life decay in delay. The seventh skill is energy management. Self-discipline requires fuel, and you cannot pour from an empty vessel. Sleep, hydrate, move, eat clean. Protect your energy like it's your last breath, because without it, every goal becomes heavier, every temptation becomes louder, and every win slips further away. This is not luxury, it's leverage. Your body is your engine, and when it runs clean, your discipline runs strong. The eighth skill is accountability. We are not designed to thrive in isolation. Find someone who calls you out, not someone who claps for your mediocrity, but someone who reminds you who you said you'd be. Discipline dies in secrecy, but in the light of truth, it sharpens. Join a group, hire a coach, declare your goals publicly, create stakes, make failure painful, make quitting embarrassing, not because you need shame, but because you need structure. Pressure is not your enemy. It is your ally when properly applied. The ninth skill is recovery, not escape, not distraction. Recovery. You are not a robot. Discipline is not about burning out. It is about knowing when to pause with purpose, when to step back. Reflect, realign, rejuvenate. True discipline is not rigidity. It is rhythm. Push hard, rest smart, come back stronger. And finally, the 10th skill is identity reinforcement. You don't become disciplined by doing one hard thing. You become disciplined by becoming someone who does hard things regularly. Discipline is a language, a lifestyle, a lens. And every day you must remind yourself who you are and what you stand for. Write it, speak it, live it. I am not average. I am not casual. I am not impulsive. I am disciplined. I lead myself. I keep my word. I build myself brick by brick. Say it until it becomes more real than your doubts. Say it until you feel it in your bones. Say it and then live it until the world believes it too. Because at the end of the day, discipline is not just what you do. It is who you become. And who you become determines everything. So when the world tells you, take it easy, you respond with presence, not passivity. You smile, not because it's easy, but because you've trained for this. You've sculpted your habits in private so you could stand in power in public. Discipline is a quiet storm. It doesn't need to shout. It doesn't need to explain. It simply shows up rain or shine and does the work. And over time, that work builds something unshakable inside you. Because discipline is not about getting everything right. It's about not quitting when it goes wrong. It's not about perfect days. It's about showing up on the imperfect ones. It's not about avoiding failure. It's about refusing to be owned by it. Each setback is simply resistance training for your character. Each temptation resisted is a vote for the person you're becoming. Each act of restraint is a declaration. I lead myself. And in a world where everyone is led by trends, moods, and cravings, that kind of leadership is revolutionary. That kind of leadership is rare. That kind of leadership is earned. So earn it. Let your calendar speak for your discipline. Let your body reflect your respect. Let your routine scream your readiness. Let your results be your reputation. You don't need to tell people you're disciplined. They'll feel it. In your presence, in your punctuality, in your consistency, in the gravity of your word. Because people respect what is rooted. And you are becoming rooted. No more waiting, no more hoping, no more someday. This is your life, your one shot. And the gap between your current self and your highest self will not close with comfort. It will not close with convenience. It will only close with conviction. Discipline is the path. It is the hammer that forges mastery. It is the anchor that holds through the storm. It is the crown worn by those who have tamed their chaos, directed their focus, and chosen to become uncommon. So choose. Choose now. And never again let the soft voice of comfort override the loud call of destiny. Because while talent can open the door, discipline is what walks you through it and keeps you there. And when you walk through that door, the one forged by effort, lit by vision, and held open by persistence, you don't walk in as a guest. You walk in as the owner. Because discipline doesn't borrow success, it builds it. Every rep, every page, every early rise, every quiet no to comfort, these aren't just actions, they are bricks. Bricks in the house called self-respect. Bricks in the cathedral of your identity. And the more you lay, the stronger it stands. Until one day, what was once a fragile hope becomes an unbreakable standard. That's the real reward of discipline. Not just the body, not just the business, not just the freedom, but the becoming, the unshakable belief that when the moment comes, you'll show up not by accident, not by luck, but by design. And it is that belief that changes lives, yours, and everyone watching. Because when someone sees you disciplined, they see what's possible. They see what happens when a human takes full ownership of their hours, their habits, their hunger. You become a walking permission slip for everyone who forgot how powerful they are. Discipline isn't just for you. It's through you, for your family, for your circle, for generations to come. It is a legacy not carved in stone, but in rhythm. And that rhythm begins now. So take the reins. Take the responsibility. Take the vision out of your mind and put it in your hands. And don't let go, not when it's hard, not when it's quiet, not when it's lonely. Because this is how legends are built. Not overnight, not in hype, but in habits. This is how respect is earned, not through what you say, but through what you repeatedly do. And if you do it long enough, fierce enough, faithfully enough, one day the world will stop asking if you're serious. They'll already know. Because by then, the evidence will be undeniable. Not in what you promised, in what you produced. Not in what you intended, in what you finished. Not in the bursts of inspiration, but in the relentless follow-through. This is the truth that discipline teaches you success. Is not something you catch, it's something you become. It doesn't show up in a lightning strike. It shows up in a million small moments where you could have quit and didn't. Discipline is the quiet contract between you and your future. Signed in sweat, sealed with consistency, delivered in transformation. And if you honor it, if you keep showing up, something incredible begins to happen. You stop needing motivation. You stop waiting for the mood to be right. You stop second-guessing your mission. You become the kind of person who simply does what needs to be done. And that's the rarest kind of freedom, the freedom to trust yourself. Because the truth is, discipline doesn't just build dreams. It builds trust, self-trust. And when you trust yourself, you move differently. You speak with weight. You walk with clarity. You make decisions like someone who's already seen the mountaintop, because in your heart you have. And nothing rattles that. Not the setbacks, not the critics, not the quiet seasons when no one's watching, because you're no longer performing, you're becoming. And becoming is unstoppable. Becoming is eternal. That's the gift discipline gives you a life that compounds, a character that deepens, a legacy that speaks long after you're gone. So wherever you are, in your journey, beginner or veteran, rising or rebuilding, know this. Discipline isn't something you find. It's something you choose. And the moment you choose it, really choose it, everything changes. Because that's the day you stop hoping and you start building. And once you start building, you realize something the world never told you. That the struggle isn't your enemy. It's your initiation. Every time you resist the urge to quit, every time you act without applause, every time you push forward when it would be easier to pull back, you are passing a test. Not a test the world gives. A test you give. A test to see if your word means something. A test to see if your vision is stronger than your weakness. A test to see if you are willing to be forged in fire, because nothing lasting is made in comfort. Steel doesn't strengthen without heat. Diamonds don't form without pressure. And you don't rise without resistance. That resistance isn't in the way. It is the way. Because discipline is not just about performance. It's about purification. It strips away the noise. It cuts through the lies. It shows you who you really are when it's hard, when it's lonely, when it's inconvenient. And that version of you, the one who keeps going, that's the one who was buried underneath layers of doubt and delay. But now, finally, you've met them, and you will never go back. You'll never again confuse rest with quitting. You'll never again let your emotions steer the ship. You'll never again break your own word and pretend it didn't matter. Because now, it does matter. Now, every choice counts. Every early morning, every clean meal, every no to temptation, every yes to something hard. They are all investments, deposits into the account of your future. And one day you will wake up and realize you are living in the dividends of that discipline. You are walking through doors that once terrified you. You are keeping promises you once avoided. You are inspiring people who once pitied you. Not because you were lucky, but because you earned it one disciplined day at a time. And when that day comes, when the gap between who you are and who you used to be is no longer a crack but a canyon, you'll understand. This was never about just being better. This was about becoming undeniable, not to others, to yourself. Because the real reward of discipline isn't the money, the title, the physique, or the applause. It's the unshakable belief that you can trust yourself to do hard things. And that belief, it rewires your destiny. It redefines your limits. It transforms every obstacle into opportunity, every delay into training, every failure into foundation. Discipline doesn't just make you stronger, it makes you sovereign. No longer tossed around by impulse. No longer chained to comfort. No longer waiting for the perfect mood to move. You move anyway. And that's the kind of movement that builds momentum. That's the kind of consistency that silences doubt. That's the kind of identity that builds empires, not made of stone, but of standards. Standards that say, I don't break under pressure, I rise. I don't follow my feelings, I lead them. I don't lower the bar, I become it. And from that place, that grounded, fearless, unshakable place, you begin to create, not from reaction, not from desperation, but from power. Power rooted in routine. Power carved from commitment. Power born from discipline. And that power, once forged, can never be taken from you because you didn't borrow it. You built it. And now it's yours. So stand tall, not because it's easy, but because it's earned. Stand in the fire of your habits, your hours, your hunger, and let them shape you into someone the world cannot ignore. Let discipline be your compass. Let integrity be your weapon. Let consistency be your anthem. And when the storms come, and they will, you will not bend. You will not break, because you were not built for ease. You were built for excellence. Now go out there and become it. There comes a moment perhaps in the stillness of dawn or the roar of a midnight thought where you feel the echo of something greater pulling at your spirit, not the noise of the world, not the scramble for attention, for approval, for shallow wins, but something quieter, older, something real, a whisper from the depths. You were not born to drift. You were born to rise. That whisper is the beginning. That whisper is purpose, calling your name. Purpose is not found in a paycheck. It's not embedded in your title or tattooed on the degree hanging on the wall. It's not handed to you by society, by your parents, by trends or timelines. Purpose is something you forge. It is a fire, not a feather. It's not something you chase, it's something you become. And if you're willing to stop sleepwalking through your days, if you're ready to wake up and meet the truth of who you are, then the path begins here. The first principle is responsibility. Everything begins with the man or woman in the mirror. No one is coming to rescue you. No one is coming to do your push-ups, fix your mindset, or build your habits. The moment you accept complete, unfiltered, no excuses responsibility for your life is the moment you hold the steering wheel again. And that's terrifying at first. Because now if you stay stuck, if you stay broke, if you stay small, you know it's on you. But that's the price of freedom, and it's the first breath of power. Your job is not to control the world. Your job is to command yourself. Storms will come. People will disappoint. Life will throw punches. But if you build yourself like a fortress of steel and spirit, you can stand when the world falls. Don't beg for lighter burdens. Build stronger shoulders. The second principle is vision. A purposeful life is not created by accident. It is crafted, imagined, engineered by a mind that dares to see beyond the present. If you can't see it, you can't build it. And most people are walking around with fogged-up lenses, staring at screens instead of their soul's blueprint. You need to sit with yourself, not scroll, not distract. Sit, think, imagine. What would your highest life look like? Not the life they told you to want. The life that would make your heart burn. Get clear, because clarity breeds direction, and direction births momentum. A man without vision is a leaf in the wind. A man with vision is a storm on a mission. The third principle is belief. Belief is not some fluffy idea you chant in the mirror. Belief is fuel. And if you fill your tank with doubt, you'll run in circles, forever questioning if you're enough. But if you fill it with belief, with certainty that no matter how long it takes, no matter how many failures stack up, you will find your way, then you become unstoppable. The world will doubt you. Let them. You don't need their permission to believe in your own destiny. Belief does not mean you have all the answers. It means you trust yourself to figure them out. It means you silence the inner critic and turn up the inner warrior. Speak life into your future. Starve your fears. Feed your faith. Because whatever you plant in the soil of your mind will grow. Make sure it's something worth harvesting. The fourth principle is discipline. Dreams are free. Discipline is the price. Everyone wants to be great until it's time to do what greatness requires. Early mornings, silent sacrifices, saying no when everyone else says yes, doing the thing even when no one claps, especially when no one claps. Discipline is love in action. Love for your future. Love for your craft. Love for the person you are becoming. If you wait to feel motivated, you'll lose. Motivation is a mood. Discipline is a decision. Build habits that serve your vision. Master your time. Protect your energy like it's gold, because it is. Say yes only to what aligns with your future. Cut the rest ruthlessly. A purposeful life cannot be built with lazy hands and distracted minds. The fifth principle is courage. Purpose will always ask for more than comfort. It will ask you to step into rooms where you feel unqualified, to speak when your voice shakes, to walk away from what's familiar even if it's safe. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is movement through fear. And the more you act despite the tremble, the more the tremble turns to triumph. Your fear is not a stop sign. It's a signal. It means you're at the edge of something real, something important, something that matters. Stop waiting to feel ready. The lion doesn't ask for permission to roar, and neither should you. The sixth principle is integrity. A purposeful life is not just about success. It's about becoming someone you can look in the mirror and respect. In a world addicted to shortcuts, integrity is your compass. Do what you say. Keep your word. Live aligned. If your actions betray your values, you'll feel it, a quiet erosion of self-worth. But when your life is built on truth, you walk taller. You speak stronger. You move like someone who cannot be bought or broken. Don't just chase goals. Chase character. Because when the storm comes and the applause fades, all you'll have is the man or woman you became. Make sure it's someone noble. The seventh principle is gratitude. Not as a cliche, not as a soft whisper, but as a weapon against despair. Gratitude rewires the mind to see opportunity instead of lack. It shifts your focus from what's missing to what's possible. It teaches you to appreciate the journey, not just the destination. A purposeful life is not about someday. It's about this day, this breath, this step. And if you can be grateful now, not when it's perfect, not when you've arrived, then you unlock joy no achievement can steal. Don't wait to be happy. Choose to see the gold hidden in today. The eighth principle is adaptability. Purpose doesn't mean having a rigid plan. It means having a relentless spirit. Life will twist, break, stretch, and if you're too stiff, you'll snap. But if you learn to bend, to pivot without panicking, to adjust without losing your fire, then nothing can break you. Winners don't just execute plans. They reinvent, they learn, they evolve. Be the kind of person who doesn't need ideal conditions to win. Be water fluid, strong, unstoppable. The ninth principle is resilience. Every purpose-driven path is paved with resistance. There will be setbacks, failures, moments that shake your belief to its knees. But that's the cost of doing something meaningful. You will fall. But falling is not failing. Staying down is get up, again and again, with blood in your mouth and fire in your eyes. Because every time you rise, you build a spine of steel and a soul that won't quit. Let pain become your professor. Let failure sharpen your focus. You are not here to crumble. You are here to conquer. The 10th principle is learning. The most dangerous thing in life is not ignorance. It's thinking you already know. Stay humble. Stay curious. Stay teachable. Read. Listen. Reflect. Let every experience, good or brutal, become a lesson you use to grow. You don't need more information. You need transformation. And that comes from applying what you learn, not just collecting it. Your mind is the engine. Feed it with wisdom. Sharpen it with truth. And never, ever stop evolving. The 11th principle is contribution. Purpose is not self-centered. It is soul-centered. It expands you and the world around you. The highest level of living is giving not just money, but time, wisdom, encouragement, presence. When you lift others, you rise too. When you give freely, the universe multiplies it. When your life becomes about more than just you, legacy is born. You are not just here to get. You are here to give. And in that giving, you will find the deepest fulfillment a human can feel. So build yourself relentlessly, patiently, powerfully. And remember this truth: you don't find your purpose. You forge it in sweat, in silence, in seasons of loneliness and leaps of faith. You shape it with discipline, with fire, with grace, with grit. And one day, you'll wake up in the life you once dreamed about. Not by luck, not by chance, but because you became the kind of person who could create it. A life of purpose does not arrive with fanfare. It doesn't knock politely and wait to be invited in. It must be built brick by brick, day by day, in the dark, in the quiet, in the hours when no one is watching. While others chase applause, you must chase alignment. While others seek escape, you must seek depth. While others scroll, you must sculpt. Sculpt your mind until it becomes a weapon of clarity. Sculpt your habits until they reflect discipline, not distraction. Sculpt your relationships until they are not just comfortable, but catalytic. Because everything around you, everything you see, touch, feel, and experience is either lifting you toward your purpose or leaking it from your soul. And you must decide, with the force of someone who is done living halfway, what you will allow. Let us now speak of time, the most valuable asset in your possession, and yet the most casually wasted. You will never find a purposeful life while you treat your hours like loose change. The clock is not your enemy, it is your mirror. It reflects what you prioritize. And if your days are filled with the urgent but empty, the busy but meaningless, you will arrive at the end of your life full of regret, not reward. Purpose demands that you live deliberately, that you say no more than you say yes, that you protect your mornings like sacred territory, that you extract from each hour something real, not perfect real, that you do not confuse movement with meaning, that you make the time you have count, because you don't get more of it, you only get this. Every day you are writing a line in your story, and one day that story will be all that's left. What will it say? That you coasted? That you survived? That you fit in? Or will it say, here lived a soul on fire. Here stood a man, a woman, who chose the harder path, who chose to lead, to grow, to rise, who turned pain into power and setbacks into strength, who left the world better than they found it. Let it be that. Let that be your story. And do not be deceived by speed. You are not racing anyone. You are aligning with your mission. Fast is not the goal, true is the goal. Because when it is true, when it is you, it moves mountains. So stop measuring your worth against the clock or the crowd. Measure it against your potential. Measure it against the quiet knowing inside you that says, I was made for more. You do not need 100 opportunities. You need one decision. One day where you say, enough of the noise, enough of the waiting, enough of the hiding. Today, I move. That decision changes everything. Because when your soul commits fully, fiercely the universe responds. Doors open, people arrive, energy shifts, because you are finally living in rhythm with who you are meant to be. This is not a motivational moment. This is a rebirth. Let the old stories fall away. Let the excuses dissolve. Let the doubts burn. You were not made to blend in. You were made to build. To build something eternal, not in marble or gold, but in impact, in legacy, in the invisible ripples of lives touched because you chose to live on purpose. So rise. Every day, rise. With fierce intention, with open eyes, with a soul that refuses to be sedated. Speak with conviction, walk with resolve, love with depth, give without needing applause. Create not for the algorithm, but for the echo it leaves in people's hearts. You are here for more than survival. You are here to awaken. You are here to become. You are here to build a life so aligned, so radiant, so powerful that when others see it, they remember their own. That is purpose. And it begins now. Purpose, once awakened, does not let you rest. It doesn't coddle. It calls. It interrupts your comfort and whispers, this isn't all there is. It doesn't care how long you've coasted. It doesn't care what excuses you've made. It simply waits. Waits for the moment you stop negotiating with your potential and start honoring it. And when that moment comes, your entire life begins to shift. You stop being entertained by the distractions that once devoured your time. Gossip, laziness, the shallow chase for validation. They lose their flavor. You begin to hunger for truth, for depth, for alignment. You stop saying, I'll try, and start saying, I must. You stop living at the mercy of your emotions and start leading them like a general leads an army. You stop reacting. You begin responding with intention, with presence, with power. Because here's the truth they don't tell you. The world does not give you purpose. You give it to yourself. Through the way you show up, through the way you choose discipline over distraction, through the way you hold your values, even when it costs you, through the way you do the right thing, not the easy thing. Purpose is not given. It is earned. And you earn it in the trenches of effort in the gym at 5 a.m. when no one claps, in the lonely nights grinding on your craft, in the difficult conversations where you speak truth instead of keeping peace. You earn it by building your name into something that means something. And that's what this world is desperate for. Not more noise, but meaning. Not more hacks, but honor. Not more performers, but pillars people who stand for something, live for something, build something that lasts beyond trends, beyond fame, beyond the fleeting high of one more like or follower. So here's the question. What will your life stand for? Not your image, not your brand, not your comfort, your life. What will it mean? Because whether you realize it or not, you are already leading. Every action teaches. Every silence speaks. Every habit sets a tone. Every compromise either lifts or lowers your standard. You are the example someone else is watching. And the question is, what are you showing them? You don't have to be perfect, but you must be authentic. You must be rooted. You must be real. People don't follow perfection. They follow those who walk the talk, who do the work, who live what they preach, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. That is influence. That is impact. That is the birth of a purposeful legacy. And legacy is not what you leave when you die. It's what you build while you live. It's the energy you leave in a room. It's the standard you set in your family. It's the values that echo long after your voice has gone silent. And it all begins with how you choose to live today. So ask yourself, are you making choices that honor your future self? Are your daily habits building the person you say you want to be? Are you surrounded by people who push you higher or keep you small? Is your vision written on paper, etched into your heart, and visible in your schedule? Because if it's not in your habits, it's not in your life. If it's not in your environment, it's just a wish. And if it's not backed by consistent action, it's nothing more than a fantasy. But the beautiful thing about a purposeful life is that it's always available. You can choose it right now. You can draw a line in the sand, say no more to mediocrity, to excuses, to drifting, and say yes to becoming the kind of person who builds something worth remembering. Not by talking about it, not by posting about it, but by living it relentlessly, unshakably, unapologetically. Because when you live with purpose, every setback becomes fuel. Every challenge becomes a test, not of your strength, but of your commitment. Every failure becomes a brick in the foundation of something greater. And you, yes, you become the proof that it's possible to rise, not by chance, but by choice. And choice is power. And so you rise not with noise, but with resolve. Because the path to a purposeful life is not lit with applause. It is lit with decision. One quiet, relentless decision at a time. When the crowd sleeps in, you rise. When the world doubts, you believe. When fear shouts, you whisper, I move anyway. This is not about ego. This is not about proving anyone wrong. This is about proving yourself right. That deep part of you that has always known you were built for more, not more things, but more truth. Not more attention, but more authenticity. Not more distraction, but more direction. Purpose is not loud. It doesn't brag. It doesn't boast. It doesn't scream, look at me. Purpose just moves. Quiet. Focused. Ruthless. It does the work when no one sees. And because of that, its results speak for it. But to walk this path, you must shed the lesser version of yourself, the one addicted to comfort, to complaining, to being liked. That version cannot come with you. It must die. So the real you can be born. And that death will feel like fire. You will grieve the old self, the old habits, the old crowd. You will walk alone for a season. You will wonder if it's worth it. You will feel the weight of silence, where once there was noise. But hold fast, because the silence is sacred. It is where the real work begins. It is where the weak voices in your head are drowned out by the roar of your soul awakening. And when that roar comes, let it echo. Let it shake the foundations of everything you thought you couldn't be. Let it burn through the limits placed on you by fear, by doubt, by other people's expectations. You are not here to live a carbon copy life. You are not here to tick boxes, follow scripts, or dim your light to fit in someone else's frame. You are here to carve something original, something that carries your fingerprint, your fire, your voice. But you can't do that if you're still trying to be who you were yesterday. You have to evolve rapidly, ruthlessly, relentlessly. That means leveling up your standards, not just for others, for yourself, for your thoughts, for your habits, for your self-talk. You cannot speak to yourself like a failure and expect to live like a champion. Talk to yourself like a leader, like a builder, like a person with something sacred inside. Because you do. You carry something divine, a gift, a vision, a message, a mission. And that gift doesn't grow in shallow soil. It grows in hardship, in resistance, in seasons where everything in you wants to quit, but something deeper says, keep going. Obey that voice. Obey it when it's hard. Obey it when you're tired. Obey it when you're scared. That voice, the one calling you higher, is the voice of purpose. It is not soft. It is not sweet. It is steel in your spine, fire in your chest, thunder in your steps. And it is yours, if you will answer it. Understand this. Purpose will not compete with your distractions. It will not shout over the television. It will not scream louder than the latest trend. It will not dance to entertain you or perform to keep your attention. It waits patiently until you are quiet enough to hear it, until your excuses run out, until the noise of the world no longer seduces you the way it once did. And in that sacred stillness, purpose speaks. But most people are terrified of silence, because in silence they hear the truth that they've settled, the truth that they've buried their dreams beneath a mountain of convenience, the truth that their potential has been sitting idle, waiting, wondering if they'd ever show up to claim it. But not you, not anymore. Because the moment you hear that truth, you don't run from it, you run toward it, you let it cut, you let it sting. You let it expose the gap between who you are and who you could be, and then you build the bridge with discipline, with action, with fire. This is the beautiful burden of awareness. Once you see the truth, you can't unsee it. And once you know you were made for more, you cannot go back to less. And that is the tension of the purposeful life. You will outgrow people. You will outgrow patterns. You will outgrow parts of yourself that were once comfortable but are now cages. Do not mourn what you leave behind. Celebrate it, because evolution is not a betrayal of the past. It is a tribute to the future. It is your soul saying, I respect myself enough to keep rising. Let them say you've changed. You're supposed to. Growth demands it. Vision requires it. Destiny insists on it. And when the pull of old comforts tries to seduce you back into mediocrity, remind yourself comfort is a slow death. It feels good while it kills you. But purpose is life on fire. It is not always easy. It is not always safe, but it is real and it is right. And so you must choose comfort or calling, familiarity or future, excuses or excellence. One path leaves you asleep in a dream someone else sold you. The other wakes you up to the truth you were born to live. Choose and then move as if your life depends on it. Because it does. Because the moment you choose purpose, really choose it, everything soft inside you begins to harden into strength. The voice that once trembled becomes clear. The spine that once bent begins to straighten. And you walk differently. You speak differently. You demand more, not from the world, but from yourself. And that is when the world begins to respond. Not because you shouted louder, not because you chased it harder, but because you finally became someone the world couldn't ignore. That's the paradox of purpose. You don't chase it, you embody it. You become it. And when you do, you attract what aligns and repel what doesn't. The wrong people leave. The right ones appear. The doors that were sealed shut swing open. Not because they changed, but because you did. That's what alignment does. It clears the air. It clears the way. And it clears the old version of you that thought survival was the goal. Survival is not the goal. Expansion is the goal. Impact is the goal. Mastery is the goal. To become the kind of human who doesn't just take up space, but fills it with presence. The kind of human who walks into a room and elevates it. Who meets challenges with calm, setbacks with strategy, and pressure with poise. Not because you were born different, but because you built yourself differently. That's the secret the world won't tell you. That the strongest people you admire, the ones who seem unshakable, weren't handed that strength. They forged it in darkness, in struggle, in lonely moments filled with doubt but driven by devotion. They didn't just ask, what do I want from life? They asked, what does life require from me? And then they answered with their habits, with their time, with their integrity. So ask yourself, what does your purpose require from you? Maybe it requires discipline you've never demanded of yourself. Maybe it requires cutting ties with comfort and diving into uncertainty. Maybe it requires standing alone for a season to become the kind of person who can lead others in every season. Whatever it is, do it. Because every day you delay, you distance yourself from the life that could be yours. And make no mistake, there is a life waiting for you. A life where your mornings are meaningful, where your work is sacred, where your words matter, where your existence ripples into generations you'll never meet. But that life doesn't come to the version of you who's still waiting for motivation. It comes to the one who moves anyway. There will come a moment quiet, unannounced, where everything you've built in silence begins to speak for you. Not in words, but in weight, in the gravity of your presence, in the way people sit up straighter when you enter a room, in the way problems shrink when your name is spoken. That is the reward of alignment. That is the echo of purpose. It isn't just about success, it's about substance. Because there's something far more powerful than being seen, and that is being felt. And when you live with purpose, people feel you. Long after the conversation ends, long after the meeting's over, long after the project is complete, they remember how you made them feel. Not just because you were excellent, but because you were anchored. And you can only be anchored when your life is built on principles, not moods, not hype, not trends, but principles. Truths that don't bend in the wind, standards that don't drop under pressure, convictions that do not dissolve in the presence of temptation. And so I ask you once more, with fire in my tone and sincerity in my spirit, what are the principles you stand on? Because when the lights go out, when the stage is empty, when no one's looking and nothing's posting, those principles are all that will remain. Do you work like it matters? Do you speak like it shapes? Do you live like you're leaving something behind? This isn't about playing a bigger game. This is about playing a realer one, a deeper one. One where every conversation is intentional, every morning is owned, every effort is infused with care. Purposeful living is not glamorous, it's gritty. It's showing up when you're tired. It's doing what's right when it's hard. It's staying grounded when success tempts you to float. But on the other side of that grit is glory, not the hollow kind, not the kind that fades when applause dies, but the kind that lives in the eyes of your children, in the stories people tell about you when you're not in the room, in the mirror, when you look yourself in the eye and know you gave it everything. And that is peace. That is purpose. That is the kind of wealth no thief can steal and no storm can shake. And if you want it, if you truly want it, then stop playing small with your days. Stop waking up like time owes you something. Stop scrolling through your life while your calling gathers dust in the corner. Move. Move like the clock is ticking. Because it is. Move like someone who knows that the opportunity of a lifetime must be seized in the lifetime of the opportunity. Move like someone who is done negotiating with doubt and ready to do business with destiny. And when it gets hard, because it will remember, pressure doesn't break people, it reveals them. And you were made for this. You were made to endure, to adapt, to lead, to finish. And when you do, when you build a life on purpose, with purpose, through purpose, you will not need to announce it. Your existence will say it all. So go, build with fire, live with honor, speak with truth, move with power, and never forget, you are not here to exist. You are here to leave a mark that time cannot erase. That is a purposeful life. This life, this one fleeting, firelit life, is your canvas. Not someday, not when the stars align. Now, with trembling hands, imperfect tools, and an unrelenting heart, now. Paint boldly, speak honestly, build relentlessly, love deeply. Do not wait for the perfect moment. Create it. Do not wait for the world's permission. Take it. Do not wait for the fear to leave. Walk forward with it. Because fear is not your enemy, it is your compass. And it only screams loudest when you're moving in the right direction. Use it. Let it sharpen your awareness. Let it humble your pride. Let it teach you that on the other side of fear is always the future you were made for. But to reach that future, you must walk through the fire, not around it, not above it, through it. And yes, you'll lose things along the way. Illusions, comforts, pieces of identity that once felt like armor, but were actually chains. Let them burn, because what's left when the smoke clears that is you, the real you, the one you are always becoming, the one this world needs. A man or woman who cannot be bought, broken, or blurred. A man or woman who lives not for likes but for legacy. Who gives more than they take. Who listens more than they speak. Who builds not for recognition but for impact. That is the final principle, the one that pulls all others into alignment. Transcendence. Living in such a way that your life becomes a ladder, not just for you, but for everyone who watches you climb. That when you reach your peak, you don't just plant a flag, you throw down a rope. You lift, you teach, you give. Because the highest level of purpose is not what you gain, it's what you give away. And so, here at the summit of it all, you realize this journey was never about the destination. It was about the transformation. It was about becoming the person who deserved the life they dreamed of. It was about learning that purpose isn't found in a single moment. It is made one decision at a time, one day at a time, one act of courage at a time. And when you look back, not in regret, but in reverence, you will see the trail of fire you walked through and smile because it led you home to the life you were born to live, to the person you were born to be, to a life not of reaction, but of reign, a life not borrowed, but built, a life not forgotten, but felt. This is purpose. Live it, burn with it, become it, and leave behind something eternal. Then let that fire stay lit. Let it wake you before the world stirs. Let it shape your words, your habits, your walk, your presence. Let it remind you that you are not here to float. You are here to forge. Every step from here is a declaration that your life is not an accident. It is an assignment. Now go and live it so powerfully that even the stars look down and say, there walks a soul on purpose. No one warns you what it's really like starting a business. They'll tell you about the freedom, the potential, the big wins, but they don't tell you the rest. They don't tell you about the wait, about the loneliness, about the pressure of betting everything on an idea no one else believes in yet. They don't tell you what it feels like to stare at a blank screen, a negative balance, and 100 voices in your head asking, who do you think you are? But that's where every real journey begins, not with a pitch deck, not with a logo, not with a polished website. It begins with a decision, a deep, private, soul-level decision. I will build, not because it's easy, but because I refuse to stay small. Starting a business is not just a professional pursuit. It's personal. It will expose you, test you, stretch you, break you. And if you let it, it will remake you. Because business isn't just about products, it's about people. And people are messy, emotional, unpredictable. But the entrepreneur who learns to understand people, not manipulate, but understand, gains an unfair advantage. Here's what experience will teach you, faster than any classroom ever could. 1, clarity isn't optional, it's oxygen. If you don't know who you are, why you're doing this, and who you're doing it for, the world will decide for you. And their version of your dream will always be smaller than yours. Every great business starts with clarity. A clear problem, a clear solution, a clear mission, and a founder who is clear about who they refuse to be. Without clarity, every rejection feels like failure. Every delay feels like doom. But when you're clear, rejections are just redirections. Delays are just refinement, and you stay grounded while others spin. 2, discipline will take you further than genius ever could. You don't need to have all the answers. You don't need to be the smartest. But you do need to show up when no one else does. You do need to execute when it's hard. You do need to keep promises to yourself, even when you don't feel like it. Because the truth is, your business will not grow beyond the boundaries of your personal discipline. Miss your morning? You'll miss momentum. Skip the boring stuff? You'll skip the breakthrough. Ignore the details? You'll inherit disaster. If you want to lead something great, lead yourself first. 3, purpose is fuel when profit is far away. Because there will be weeks, maybe months, when the numbers don't make sense. when the inbox is quiet, when the world doesn't care what you're building. And in those moments, if your only motivation is money, you'll quit. But if your mission is anchored in meaning, you'll stay, you'll push, you'll crawl if you have to. Because you're not building for applause, you're building for impact. And purpose doesn't just keep you going, it keeps you clean. It stops you from cutting corners, from selling what you don't believe in, from chasing trends instead of building truth. A business with purpose becomes a beacon. Customers feel it. Your team mirrors it. Your decisions reflect it. 4, people are everything. Learn this early. You can't scale without people, and not just any people, the right ones. People who buy into your vision before your product is perfect. People who align with your values, even when there's no script. People who show up for more than a paycheck. But here's the catch. To attract those people, you have to become one of those people. You want loyalty? Be loyal. You want creativity? Create space for it. You want hunger? Live hungry. Because your business will always be a reflection of your leadership. If there's chaos at the top, it trickles down. If there's clarity at the top, it expands. So, hire slow. Fire fast. Protect the culture like it's your bloodline, because it is. The right person can multiply your dream. The wrong one can destroy it in silence. 5. Resilience is your real currency. Ideas are cheap. Execution is expensive. But resilience? That's priceless. There will be moments when you lose. Deals fall through. Clients vanish. Investors ghost you. Reviews sting. Algorithms change. And it's in those moments that most quit. Not because they lack talent, but because they lacked emotional endurance. Resilience isn't about avoiding breakdowns, it's about bouncing back faster. It's learning to stand up with the lesson still in your hand. It's understanding that failure isn't final unless you stop learning. A great entrepreneur doesn't avoid failure. They extract wisdom from it. 6. Learn to wear every hat but know when to pass it off. In the beginning, you'll be the CEO, the janitor, the customer service rep, the marketer, the salesperson, and your own therapist. You'll write the emails, answer the DMs, fix the bugs, and brew the coffee. That's normal. That's necessary. That's how you build muscle. But don't stay there. Your job is to move from operator to architect, to stop working in the business and start working on it. And that shift, it takes courage. It takes letting go of control. It takes trusting others with your baby. But if you don't make that shift, you'll build a prison and call it freedom. 7. Mindset isn't part of the game. It is the game. You'll learn quickly that business is 80% inner world, 20% outer mechanics. Your website won't matter if your mind breaks under pressure. Your strategy won't matter if your self-talk is sabotage. You can have all the tools, all the knowledge, all the capital, but if you wake up thinking, I'm not enough, then every move you make will be a reaction to fear. A strong business is built on a strong mind. A mind that can stay calm when things go sideways. A mind that doesn't chase every shiny idea. A mind that can say, not now, and mean it. And that mindset, it's built daily. Not through mantras, but through mental reps. Through silence. Through journaling. Through choosing response over reaction. Through reminding yourself, this is hard, and I'm built for it. 8. Decision is power. Indecision is a slow death. You won't always know the right move. You won't always have complete data, but you must decide. Momentum loves decisiveness. Customers love clarity. Your team needs direction. And even if you choose wrong, you can adjust. But choose nothing, you stall, you confuse, you drift. As a founder, your job isn't to be perfect, it's to move. To keep the vision alive by making choices. Quickly, thoughtfully, unapologetically. 9. Humility will open doors that hustle never could. You'll be tempted to pretend, to act bigger than you are, to fake success until it catches up. But long-term business is built on truth, not theatrics. Clients can feel ego. Investors can smell arrogance. Teams shrink under false bravado. What wins? Humility with hunger. The courage to say, I don't know, but I'll figure it out. The discipline to listen more than you speak. The grace to ask for help without shame. Humility isn't weakness, it's wisdom wrapped in confidence. And it will keep your feet on the ground when your brand starts to rise. 10. Cash flow is your heartbeat. Ignore it, and your dream flatlines. You can't just love your craft. You have to respect your numbers. Revenue, expenses, runway, margins. These aren't just metrics, they're vital signs. And you don't need to be a financial wizard, but you do need to know your pulse. Because passion doesn't pay the bills. Vision doesn't fund the team. Conviction won't cover payroll. Learn your numbers. Watch them. Ask the uncomfortable questions. Because you can't fix what you refuse to face. 11. Vision is your compass and you better protect it. As your business grows, distractions multiply. Offers will come. Shortcuts will tempt you. Copycats will mock you. Critics will misunderstand you. And if you're not deeply rooted in why you started, you'll start drifting without even realizing it. Your vision is sacred. Guard it, speak it, align your decisions to it, because without it, you're just reacting, not leading. 12. Legacy isn't built when you sell the company. It's built every day you show up when it's hard. Every time you choose to do what's right over what's fast. Every time you hold the standard instead of chasing the sale. Every time you lead with truth instead of trend. That's when your legacy is written, not in headlines, but in habits. Not in stock prices, but in how people felt working beside you. In the clients who felt seen, the team who felt safe, the market that felt your clarity. Because a business isn't just a machine, it's a mirror. It reflects who you are, your values, your fears, your growth, your gaps. That's why this isn't just about building something out there. It's about building something in here. The longer you're in business, the more you realize this isn't a path to success. It's a path to yourself. It exposes the parts of you that were never strong enough to carry the weight. It forces you to confront the beliefs that don't belong in the next chapter. It gives you no place to hide. And in that pressure, you either fold or you forge. That's why business is the ultimate personal development journey. Because as you build it, it builds you. More patient, more precise, more grounded, more resilient, more real. And one day, you'll look back not at your profit sheet, not at your awards, not at the logo, but at the version of you that emerged through the process. And you'll say, that was worth every scar, every late night, every loss I turned into a lesson. Because you didn't just build a business. You built a man. You built a woman. You built a leader who didn't quit when the storm came. You built someone who made a way when there was none. Someone who stayed when others ran. Someone who believed when no one clapped. Someone who rose not for fame, but for freedom. And in the end, that's what entrepreneurship is. Not an escape, not a shortcut, not a brand, but a becoming. So start messy, start scared, start broke. Just don't stay there. Learn, build, fail, learn, again. Lead, even when your voice shakes. Decide, even when the future's blurry. Serve, even when it's thankless. Show up every single day, like it all depends on you. Because it does. And if you keep going, if you keep refining, one day the world will look at what you've built and they'll call it a company. But you'll know the truth. It wasn't just a business. It was your transformation in disguise. Life will break you. Not once, not twice. It will break you until you forget your own strength. Until the voice in your head stops sounding like you and starts echoing every failure you swore you left behind. Life will test the walls of your will, beat on the doors of your patience, and see how long you'll bleed before you rise. But here's what you must remember. Difficulty is not the enemy. It is the invitation to become what you say you are, to step into what you believe you're made of. Nobody escapes pain. Nobody avoids hardship. Nobody walks through this life untouched by fire. But some, a rare few, emerge not just unburned, but reborn. sharper, wiser, unshakable. And that is not luck. That is a choice, a path, a series of steps taken by those who refuse to be defined by what happened to them and instead define themselves by how they rise. And the first step is this: radical acceptance. Not passive, not surrender, but radical, conscious, soul-deep acceptance of what is, of what's happened, of where you are. Because denial is the first chain. You cannot defeat what you refuse to face. Stop arguing with reality. Stop wishing for a different past. You are not here to undo it. You are here to transcend it. Own it. All of it. The scars, the setbacks, the broken pieces. Because nothing begins until you do. And once you've accepted what is, step into the second truth. Inner command. Life might be chaos out there, but your mind must be a fortress. You can't control the waves, but you can become a better captain. Start with your thoughts. Interrogate them. Rewire them. Replace "why me" with "watch me." Replace "this is too much" with "I was made for this." Discipline your inner world like a warrior prepares for battle, because every day is a battle, and the war is always won first in the mind. The third step is clarity. Pain fogs your vision. It blurs your goals. It convinces you that survival is all there is, but you are not here to survive. You are here to direct. Sit with yourself. Strip away the noise. What do you want? Who do you want to become? What would victory look like in this storm? Define it. Write it. Burn it into your focus like a lighthouse in a hurricane. Without clarity, every step feels like wandering. But with clarity, every storm becomes a step. Now comes the fourth step, purpose-driven pain. Most run from pain, but the rare few, they mine it. They pull the gold out of the darkness. They ask, what is this teaching me? Who is this shaping me into? Because pain is a sculptor. Brutal, yes, but honest. It cuts what doesn't belong. It burns away what's false. And if you can hold your pain with purpose, it will build you. Let every tear water your roots. Let every scar become your armor. Let every heartbreak sharpen your edge. You are not just surviving this, you are becoming something through it. Then comes the fifth step, massive personal ownership. No blame, no pointing fingers, no victim mindset. Whether you caused it or not, your life is your responsibility. That's not cruelty. That's power. Because the moment you stop waiting for someone to fix it, you begin. You become the architect, the builder, the one who says, if it's to be, it's up to me. You can't always control what breaks you, but you can control what you do with the pieces. Pick them up, build again, stronger, wiser, smarter. This is not the end of your story. It's the turning point. The sixth step, relentless action. You will not think your way out of a dark season. You will not overanalyze your way into healing. You will move. One step, one habit, one choice at a time. Progress is the antidote to despair. You don't need to know the whole path, just the next right step. Take it, and then the next, and then the next, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard, because every step you take in difficulty is double the strength. This is where resilience is born. This is where momentum begins. This is how mountains are moved, one stubborn, faithful step at a time. And when you move, step 7 emerges. Environment engineering. You cannot outgrow your environment if it constantly reminds you of who you used to be. Clean it, change it, cut what drains you, cultivate what fuels you. The people, the spaces, the conversations, they either sharpen your fire or snuff it out. Surround yourself with those who speak to your future, not your failure. And become the kind of presence that commands growth in others too. Build a world that matches your mission. Let nothing around you contradict the vision within you. And then step 8, emotional mastery. You are allowed to feel. You are not allowed to be owned by your feelings. Emotions are messengers, not masters. Feel the sadness, but don't drown in it. Feel the anger, but channel it. Feel the fear, but walk anyway. Master your emotions, not by suppressing them, but by leading them. Name them. Move through them. Use them. You are not weak for feeling. You are powerful when you harness that feeling. And what do you harness it for? That brings us to step 9, creative reinvention. Life's difficulties are often disguised invitations to evolve, to create a new way of living, a new system, a new self. Don't just survive the storm. Redesign yourself through it. Let hardship give birth to innovation, to new routines, to new ways of thinking, to a version of you that wasn't even possible before the pain arrived. And when the world says, you've changed, smile and say, exactly, because change was always the point. And then comes the 10th step, spiritual grounding. Whatever your anchor, faith, values, principles, return to it. Let it hold you steady when everything else shakes. Let it remind you this pain is not permanent. This struggle is not your identity. You are anchored to something greater than the moment, to truth, to calling, to eternity. That grounding is not weakness. It is your root system. The deeper the roots, the stronger the storm must be to move you. The 11th step, gratitude in the grind. This is not about fake smiles. It's about warrior vision, seeing the value in the battle. Being grateful not because it's easy, but because it's forging something eternal in you. Thank the difficulty not because it's pleasant, but because it's purifying. Gratitude in pain doesn't mean you like it. It means you own it. And finally, the 12th, most unstoppable step, recommitment. Not once, not twice, every day, every morning, every breath. You recommit to your vision, your future, your highest self, because life will test your consistency more than your intensity. But if you wake up and recommit again and again and again, there is nothing you cannot overcome. Nothing that can bury you, nothing that can stop you. Because you are no longer just reacting to life, you are rising through it. So rise. Not with noise, but with knowing. Not with anger, but with alignment. Not with fear, but with a ferocity rooted in clarity. Because from this moment forward, you do not see difficulties as detours. You see them as doors. Doors to deeper strength, sharper wisdom, unshakable resilience. And now, you know how to walk through them. Head high, heart open, feet grounded. Because now, you don't crumble under pressure, you crystallize. Now, you don't flinch when things fall apart, you forge new things from the rubble. Now, you don't beg for rescue, you build the ladder. The world may not see the war you fight inside, but it will feel the force of who you've become because of it. Because you are no longer just surviving this life. You are shaping it with every thought, every step, every choice that says, I do not retreat. I reclaim. Reclaim your vision. Reclaim your power. Reclaim your name, not the one the world gave you, but the one that was always written inside. The name of a builder, a leader, a finisher, a force. And when the next wave comes, and it will, you'll smile. Not because it's easy, but because you remember who you are now. You've walked through fire, and you came out carrying light. And that light, that unbreakable flame, it doesn't just illuminate your path, it lights the way for others. Because the truest mark of someone who's overcome real difficulty isn't the scars they wear, it's the strength they give away. It's the way they speak life into broken souls. It's how they show up for others when no one showed up for them. It's how they lead with presence, not performance. With peace, not pretense. That is the legacy of the overcomer. Not just to survive, not just to succeed, but to serve from the overflow of wisdom earned in the dark, because those who've walked through hell don't fear the fire. They become the fire, and they burn with grace, with focus, with a quiet, steady fury that says, I don't need everything to be easy. I just need me to be ready. And now you are, ready to face whatever comes, not because you have all the answers, but because you've mastered the one thing that matters most. You know how to keep moving forward, not perfectly, not painlessly, but powerfully. So keep going. Carry the lessons. Carry the fire. Carry the light. And let every storm you overcome become proof that nothing will ever again have the power to hold you down. Because once you realize that the weight of the world cannot crush what's been forged from within you, stop fearing the weight. You welcome it. You say, let it come. Because now, difficulty doesn't intimidate you. It activates you. You don't hide from challenge, you hunt it. You don't pray for an easier path, you sharpen yourself for the one you've been called to walk. You rise earlier. You stay longer. You breathe deeper when others break. You move with a calm fire because you've earned it. Not with luck, but with battle-earned belief. And when others wonder how you do it, you won't need to explain. Your life will demonstrate it. Your eyes will carry the gravity of someone who's been there and didn't run. Your words will hit different because they come from experience, not theory. Your presence will shift rooms not because you seek attention, but because you carry intention. And the world listens to people who've done the hard work. So let this be your vow, that no matter what happens, you will not shrink. You will not retreat into doubt. You will not hand over your power to fear, failure, or fatigue. You will stand, rise, adapt, learn. You will overcome not someday, but every single day. Because now, that's who you are. Not a survivor, a builder, not a wanderer, a warrior, not a victim, a voice. The voice that reminds the world that difficulty is not the end. It is the evidence that something powerful is being born. And what's being born in you now cannot be stopped. Because what's rising in you now is not a phase, not a performance, not a temporary spark. It is a permanent fire. It is the result of every moment you wanted to give up and didn't. Every time you cried and got back up. Every yes to discipline when comfort screamed no. Every quiet morning when no one saw you grind, bleed, heal, rebuild. All of it, every single moment has led to this unshakable truth. You are not here to live a life of hesitation. You are here to move mountains with your presence, to command your days with precision, to stand so rooted in your resilience that the storms only make you stronger. Because the greatest transformations don't come with applause. They come in the silence of work done in private, the silence of wounds healing in the dark, the silence of decisions made when nobody's clapping. And from that silence, something unstoppable begins to emerge. Conviction, unbreakable, unshakable, unmistakable conviction. The kind that makes people stop and stare, not because you're loud, but because your life speaks so clearly. And what it says is this: I've been through fire, and I carry light. I've been through hell, and I've returned with heaven in my heart. I've been broken, but I was not buried. I was reborn. And now, you walk through life with a different posture, not seeking validation, not craving ease, but carrying the message that every difficulty life throws your way is fuel for your rise. And with that fuel, you no longer wait for the world to understand you. You become the world's reminder. That power doesn't always shout. Sometimes it simply shows up in the way you keep your word, in the way you handle pressure with poise, in the way you do ordinary things with extraordinary consistency. And when difficulty knocks again, because it always will, you'll open the door, not with fear, but with fire in your eyes. You'll smile, not because you're unscathed, but because you've trained for the storm. You've become the storm. And now, life's trials no longer define you. They refine you. They sharpen your edge. They deepen your roots. They elevate your name. Because now you understand deeply fully that greatness was never meant to be easy. It was meant to be earned. And you're no longer afraid of the price. You're willing to pay it. Every morning you wake up and choose purpose over passivity. Every night you lay down knowing you gave it all. Not for applause, not for titles, but because there is no other way to live for someone who has seen their power. So take this fire, take this grit, take this knowing, and walk back into the world like someone who knows the truth. That no matter what life throws at you, you are not only capable, you are called. You are not only strong enough to endure, you are brave enough to build. And from this moment on, there is no difficulty that can outrun the force of who you've become. And so you walk not as who you were, but as who you've chosen to become. With each step, you no longer drag the weight of doubt. You carry the authority of discipline. You no longer run from challenge. You run toward it because you know the higher the mountain, the greater the view. This world is not soft. It's not fair. It doesn't hand out peace or clarity. But you don't need handouts. You generate your own power. You create your own clarity. You choose your own path even when it's uphill, even when it's lonely, even when it breaks you open. Because now you know the break was never meant to end you. It was meant to reveal you. The pain was not the punishment. It was the pathway. And from it, you forge something divine, something that cannot be copied, cannot be sold, cannot be faked. A spirit that refuses to fold. You've taken every hit and turned it into horsepower. You've taken every loss and turned it into leverage. You've taken every detour and turned it into direction. So now when you face the next storm, you don't ask, will I survive? You ask, what strength is this storm here to reveal? Because your faith is now stronger than your fear. Your work ethic is now louder than your excuses. And your commitment, it is final, not a feeling, a decision. So stand tall, head high, eyes clear. You were not built for easy. You were built for elevation. And now that you've remembered who you are, there's nothing this life can throw at you that you can't rise through and rule over. Not anymore. And it ends not with silence, but with certainty that you forged in fire, anchored in truth, reborn in difficulty, are no longer just surviving life. You are leading it. Not by chance, not by circumstance, but by the unstoppable decision to rise again and again until your life becomes the proof that nothing can stop a soul that refuses to quit.